Hi everyone, it is Shannon from Business Solution Partners, and I am so excited to talk to you about what I saw at SuiteWorld 2022. Today, I'm going to specifically talk about the product keynote. This is where NetSuite introduces all of its new products or improvements to existing products that are coming for the year. So let's get into it. The 5 things I'm going to talk about today are the improvements that NetSuite made to AP automation, Suite People, Ship Central, and Suite Analytics Warehouse. They also introduced a NetSuite CPQ. If you don't know what that stands for Configure Price Quote. That is something that has been sorely needed within the NetSuite system, and I'm so glad they've brought it on this year. Let's talk AP automation. Now, if you already use a company like AvidXchange or Tipalti or Mineral Tree, your needs are probably more robust than what NetSuite might offer here in this new update, but I do recommend that you look into it anyway. And if you aren't using any of those AP automation softwares, you definitely want to look into this. They have made a lot of really exciting improvements. I'm going to just touch on 2 or 3 today. So the one that I think is the most exciting is a partnership with HSBC Bank to give you a lot more options when it comes to the kinds of payments you can make. Specifically, I'm really excited about the virtual card. So if you have someone that needs to make a payment on the company's behalf, you can create a virtual digital card. This allows you to change the number on the card so that you don't have to use the same credit card over and over again. That will cut down on fraud. It allows you to control the limit on the card. You can either make a high limit for someone who has a bunch of purchases to make, or you can use it specifically for one-off payments and make the limit the exact amount it needs to be. Again, that is going to cut down on fraud and overspending. I think that's really exciting and a really cool safety measure that your company should be leveraging. So next, I want to touch on some of the work automation that NetSuite has created within NetSuite now. So right now, your AP team might be inputting manually a lot of the bills into NetSuite. That's all well and good, except for it takes forever and, human error might occur and you might put in the wrong amount or something like that. So now NetSuite allows you to scan bills into the system. It will read them and populate the fields. That's really exciting. That'll take a lot of time off your AP team's hands and cut down on any errors. Lastly, the thing that I think is really exciting is 3-way match. So if your AP team is a little bit underwater and you have either paid a bill fraudulently, you got a phishing email and someone paid it, or if someone has double paid a bill, 3-way match will help you avoid that because it will go through your purchase orders and make sure that the payment that you're about to make corresponds with anything within the NetSuite system. So if you've got a phishing email, I literally just saw one of these yesterday, a phishing email that said, hey, we owe $24,000 to this company. Can you please pay it? Okay, the AP person would go to pay it and the system would say, hey, this is not related to any purchase order that we can find. Are you sure? And then that allows you to recognize fraud or to recognize, hey, you've already paid this bill. Are you sure you want to pay it again? Things like that are really impactful. They help take away the errors that your AP team may make, and it takes away the amount of time they have to spend doing manual work. It's all really exciting stuff. Let's get into Suite People. So when I tell you all that Suite People has had a glow up this year, boy, do I mean it. They have made some small but important improvements, as well as created a whole new dashboard for you to do your labor planning. We'll show you a little bit about that later. So let's start with sort of the smaller but mighty improvements. In my experience with customers evaluating Suite People, one of the things that was a big hang up for a lot of them was that Suite People previously did not allow you to time track within NetSuite. You had to go get a third-party provider for that, which a lot of times was prohibitively expensive or just like too much, right? Too much of a project. So now you can do that within NetSuite. When I tell you, that is going to make so many people happy. So now people can clock in right within NetSuite. You also have the ability to take a photo of, if you want, of the person clocking in. That way they don't have their buddies clocking in for them. You know what time they're clocking in and who is clocking in. So smaller improvement, but to me that was really important and really exciting. However, what is the most exciting is now the ability to visualize your labor costs against the profitability that you're expecting to have within a certain amount of time, and make sure you're staying within your percentage rates that you want to stay within. So, as someone who used to work at a restaurant group, I can tell you this would have been incredible. So if your company has a goal that they need to hit, you have to stay, your labor costs have to be 30% of what you expect to make. You can easily drag people's hours to make sure you stay within that 30%. Additionally, this takes into account people who have requested and had PTO approved. So you're not going to be scheduling people who aren't available. I cannot tell you how amazing this would have been for the restaurant group I worked for. I can tell you it's going to be really fantastic for a lot of teams that have, big warehouses or a lot of hourly employees. This improvement to me is so exciting. I really do hope that if you had looked at Sweet People previously but didn't move forward with it, that you look at it again. Or if you already have Sweet People, that you really take a look at these abilities. If you have a lot of hourly employees, this is going to be a game changer for you. Now on to the improvements made in Ship Central. So previously, I think we all know NetSuite's shipping capabilities have not been the most flexible or customizable. However, they have made some really cool improvements here. I'm going to talk about 3 ways in which your warehouse team is going to have a lot more flexibility. So starting with the order itself. Now you have more ability to understand where all these packages are going and if they're going to the same location. So say a customer accidentally, or not accidentally, placed 2 orders. Now your warehouse team is aware of that and can package them in to the same box. That'll help you with your shipping costs, right? Previously, you just sort of had to hope they caught that. Maybe they were too busy. Now the system is going to let you know that you have multiple orders going to the same location. Then those can be picked, packed, and shipped all together. Next up is your ability to be flexible when it comes to labels. You can replace damaged labels. If your customer calls you and says, hey, I actually need it to go to this other warehouse, you can make that change. The warehouse people can make that change right themselves instead of having to go back to the sales order. That's really exciting, is going to increase your warehouse's ability to make changes on the fly significantly, and it's going to empower them to be a lot more flexible. Lastly, what I'm going to touch on for Ship Central is that NetSuite is making it much more flexible than it has been in years past, meaning you're going to be able to do different workflows for different situations to make sure you're hitting all of your business needs. This is going to help your fulfillment process be a lot more frictionless and a lot more impactful to your business. Okay, let's talk about Suite Analytics Warehouse. So if you have not heard of that before, that's okay. It's actually a relatively new product to NetSuite. Basically what it is a data integration and visualization software. So as the name implies, it allows you to bring in data not just from NetSuite, but other sources like Salesforce or something like that, combine the data, and then be able to create graphs or charts or whatever the case may be so you can visualize the data, make it easier to understand, and do some in-depth analysis on it. So that's what it is. I do have to admit, this is something, because it's so new, I personally don't have a ton of experience with. So this is going to be like the shortest part of our video here today. But I do want to, just talk about some of the improvements that were made. They added some more dashboards, some more pre-built reports, sort of following that Suite Success method where they want to have as much pre-built for you so you don't have to spend the time, hand making all of these various reports. So they've added a lot more pre-built reports and dashboards, which is really exciting. They have included a Shopify integration. Shopify is the biggest e-commerce platform that I am aware of. So I'm really glad to see this. It will help a lot of people get their e-commerce data into NetSuite. And lastly, they have included more industry specific reporting and data, meaning it's going to give you different data and reports if you're in retail, wholesale, manufacturing, services, etc. So again, this is the product I know the least about, transparently. So this is going to be the shortest part of the video. However, data visualization and consolidation is really powerful stuff. I highly recommend you look into it if you haven't already. Next up, we have the NetSuite CPQ. This is by far the thing I was the most excited to see at SuiteWorld. So if you're not familiar with the CPQ, that stands for Configure, Price, Quote. This goes considerably beyond matrix items, which some of you might be familiar with. So, if you buy a t-shirt, you can buy it in a certain size and a certain color. That's a matrix item. A configurator allows you to, or allows your customer rather, to create different configurations of the same product. I'm gonna give you an example because that wasn't a super helpful definition. So recently I was trying to buy a stand-up desk and I had to use a configurator to figure out the desk I was gonna get. Did I want to include a filing cabinet? Do I want to have a arm to hold my my computer display? Things like that. That is what a configurator does. So a lot of furniture companies rely heavily on configurators, and NetSuite has not had one up until now. So I am so excited to see this. The customer can configure what they want. They see the price automatically, or it allows your rep to send them a quote for what they've created. Does that make sense? It's a really cool product. I'm really happy that NetSuite has it. I have a few customers right now that are going to be excited to hear about this. So if that is of interest to you, or if that stopped you from buying NetSuite before, please take another look. It's a really exciting advancement in the NetSuite technology. And that is it for me, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me on my recap of the product keynote of NetSuite 2022. I hope you heard some interesting stuff today. Please feel free to reach out to your NetSuite account manager if you want to hear more about anything you heard today.